And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 123 of Rope-a-Dope Boxing, with the 2 days being a review and preview show this week because we've got things going on. So we're going to wrap both things together for you here on this Monday afternoon. If you're new to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, please like, share and subscribe. If you're watching via YouTube, just hit that subscribe button, please. And obviously, if you're listening via Apple, Spotify, Amazon, any of the audio feeds, give us a 5-star review, as nothing else will do. Bank holiday Monday here, mate. I got out of bed about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Late one last night, out on the piss. Stourbridge Football Club, as most regular listeners, if they want to know. But got out about 1 o'clock. Far too many Thatcher's hazes. I'm feeling it now. You probably tell way right. I'm not the best looking geezers anyway, but I look a mess. My voice is a bit croaky, and it's going to be a bad one today in terms of talking boxing, because I was kind of like, we lost day back this weekend, but I was kind of like drowning my sorrows, if you like, for what I saw on Friday and Saturday. I woke up this afternoon and saw what Inoue went and done in Las Vegas, so it perked me up a little bit. But yeah, a pissed up, fueled weekend for me, mate. The boy's done. The boy had his last match of the season on Sunday as well. 2-1 win. I think we've lost one game since the turn of Christmas. So doing really, really well. But apart from that, how was your weekend, brother? Eventful? What was going on in the world of David Holland?
Yeah, it was okay, mate. I think we could cancel episode 123 and just call it a day now because the boxing was so bad, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
We could just say, that's it. It was terrible. Let's call the show off. We'll come back next week.
I agree.
No, I went out. I had a drink after work on Friday. I'm trying to keep the drink without sounding like an alcoholic. I'm trying to keep drinking, quite regularly because I'm going on Leigh Harper's stag do on Friday. So in 4 days' time, it's going to be chaos, like pure chaos. So I drank on Friday after work. Got home about got in the pub at 4 o'clock with people from work. Got home about 10:30, so I was well tanked up. Then I went down and met Ryan Ridge, friend of ours. Mick was there. It was Ryan's daughter's birthday. So I went to a pub with Alfie, took him down there, about 6 hours in there, had a few beers and that. So not got lashed up, but, just steady going, just keep
in training, as you say.
Just keeping the tolerance, tolerance. Didn't have a drink yesterday. When I saw my parents yesterday, went down to Portsmouth. My cousins and my dad's brother drove down from Scotland, all the way from Scotland to Portsmouth, to see my dad. Probably
and then back again. And then back again.
They went back today. So they left on Saturday morning, got there like Saturday evening, stayed the weekend, and they went back today. So I say it'll probably be the last time they see each other. So it's we all went down and saw them. So it was quite nice. We don't very often get together. Yeah. So in shitty circumstances, it was nice to get together.
Sorry, mate. What was the drive for them? What was the hours?
Oh, they done it quite well. To be fair, they reckon they done it in like 9 hours. They had a couple of stops, so it wasn't too bad really. When I think it took me 8 hours for mine. So yeah, when I drove there. But good thing was the Celtic and Rangers were playing each other yesterday, so they could watch it with my dad. So that was quite nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
My cousin and my uncle, my dad all watched the Celtic Rangers game. But nice if they won. But well, not for you because you like Rangers. But for them, it'd been nice for them to get the win. But a draw's a draw. So yeah, it was just a nice day, really. In shitty circumstances. But yeah, and then today, done a few bits at home. Really, I've got to get on that again. I've got to get ready for this weekend. So I'm starting to get like my summer stuff out the loft. She puts all the shorts up in the loft and all that. Get my summer stuff out. So yeah, I'll have some mega stories for you for next week, for the next episode that we do.
It can't fail to disappoint. It can't fail to disappoint, unlike the weekend.
It's impossible. It's impossible. I say we already started it off. I got Jay from In Between Us. I showed you before to do Leigh a nice little stag do message. So that's gone down well. And and it's going to be exactly like the In Between Us when we get there.
So what part are you, Paul, Leigh, and Miller playing then? Go on, do the characters. Well,
Leigh is definitely Jay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, I'd say Miller's probably Will. Briefcase wanker. I'm taller than Mickey, so I'll be the tall dopey one that gets all the birds.
He got the birds. He got the birds.
Yeah,
I see him thinking there.
He got all the birds. I'll be him, even though he's thick as shit. And then it leaves the other one as Mickey. But
just be Mickey, yeah.
So yeah, mate. So yeah, got a heavy one coming up.
Yeah, we'll look
It'll be
forward
more
to it.
exciting than fucking boxing. Put it that way.
Yeah, let's crack into it, mate. I haven't done any notes today, by the way. It's the first time I haven't done any notes when we go into reviewing shows because I didn't think I needed to. I saw all first account and I've got it all in my head, unfortunately, what I saw. Look, it's not going to be a complete rant. There was some positives to take out, bits and bats of it, but it wasn't a great weekend of boxing. Sunday was the saviour. We kind of called it on our show last week, how it would go. It more or less went like that, you know. But Friday night, Times Square, let's start there. And my banner for anybody that's on audios, I've put there, how can so many names and so much talent not deliver on consecutive nights? It was, you put the names together, you had Ryan Garcia against Rolly, you had Haney against Ramirez, you had Barboza against Tio, and then in Saudi on the Saturday, you obviously had Canelo Skull, Big Martin against Efe Ajagba, Munguia, all these names, all this talent, all these belts. You know, something should have happened. There should have been viral moments. There should have been world-class fights. We should be talking about them now in terms of we can't wait to see part 2 and where do they go next. But none of them delivered, and I mean none of them. I mean, let's start on Friday, Dave. Times Square. What did you make of the actual setting of Times Square? Now, I saw people moaning on social media, and I kind of get it. Turkey kind of, and I do feel sorry for Turkey. We'll get into that. He kind of told us it would be like a ring in the center of Times Square. Yes, it was, with like, I know he said 200 people, but the pictures and the artwork all looked like it was loads of people shouting and screaming. It looked like a major event, which it was to an extent. And I'm still kind of half pissed a little bit. I know I'm not making much sense, but to look at it, it looked very amateur. It looked like it's just been cardboarded off. 200 people that weren't watching the boxing. They were on their fucking phones. So you could have had 200 hardcore boxing fans, guys, go there and actually watch. I know it was shit to watch, but we'll actually watch. Uncle Turks was on his phone the whole fucking card. I don't blame him. But there was no atmosphere, really. It wasn't, I don't think it kind of worked in terms of that event. Yeah, you look at it, Times Square, fantastic. Shot off half the street. You got, you know, NYPD and the fire officers there having a fucking amateur fight. Just everything surrounded it sounded great, but for me, it didn't really take off. I don't know what you thought, mate.
No, I agree. It looked very white collarish, like small halls. Even though it was in a big stage, it looked very, like you said, amateurish. Do you think that maybe had an effect on the fighters in their performances? Because it seems very strange that none of them really caught fire. Out of the 3 of them, I thought Tio was probably the best in his performance. I think he put on a decent performance, Tio, from what we've seen in his last fight. So for me, there's not many positives, and I wouldn't really call it a positive, but he was the better of the 3.
Of the six, they're all 6 names there.
Oh yeah, of the 6 names. I mean the 3 fights, but But yeah, do you think that maybe the way that it didn't have an atmosphere and then the settings? I mean, fucking what's his name? Garcia turned up in the Batmobile and all that sort of.
They were the best bits. The ring walks are the best bits. Turn up in the car. Look, I think we're going to try and look for excuses here, because we saw it during COVID when there was no bugger in there, and we saw some great performances from Inoue when he went to the States back then. We saw Joe Joyce against Daniel Dubois. We saw we saw Mauricio Lara come over in COVID and spark Josh Warrington. I think that's an excuse. I think it's an excuse. I just think they just didn't perform.
No, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I was asking the question.
Yeah. I know.
Do you think that setting could have affected the fighters? Because it wasn't good. It was not good.
No, let's crack into it then for what it's worth. Rolly against Ryan Garcia. No one expected Rolly to do what he done, and I don't even think Rolly was that good. I've got to be honest, Dave. He landed the double hook, put Ryan down. Wow, feet looked okay. Didn't have to do much. Ryan Garcia was doing an impression of Liam Beefy Smith in the Chris Eubank Jr. second fight. His feet were stuck in treacle. When he could throw, he decided not to throw. I don't remember him throwing his iconic left jab. No ideas. Looked vacant, as well as couldn't be bothered. After the show, he made no excuses. He said he didn't feel right. He was crying in the back of the wagon. Rolly did enough to win the fight. I can't take anything else out of it, mate. Sorry. What did you think?
Well, the difference was output. Rolly threw more punches. Rolly,
he threw hardly anything either, though, Dave, did he? Rolly threw fuck all as well. That's how bad it was.
That was the difference between the 2 of them. Is that Rolly threw more punches, but he didn't. His output wasn't amazing, but it was enough to beat a gun shy. It looked like a gun shy Ryan Garcia. Now I tweeted yesterday I retweeted from Dave Coldwell. I tagged you in it. I don't know whether you see. If you was lashed up, you maybe didn't.
No, I have seen it.
Yeah, that was a great statement what he come up with there. And he said, didn't he? Anyone that's pissed hot, their performances after they come back, they've never looked the same. They've never looked the same. Conor Benn was the same. Elisa Gardner was the same. And now
Dillian White, another one.
Yeah, now Garcia's the same. He looked like void of energy. He looked like void of any type of footwork. And we waxed lyrical about his speed and and that left hook. It was almost like, if you went back and listened to last week's episode and then watched that fight off the back of what we were saying, you'd be thinking, what the fuck are these two on about? Like,
yeah,
because that I've never seen him perform like that. Never. He just didn't do anything. He'd get himself into range and then not throw. Then just start going moving back round the ring again and trying to set himself to throw a shot and then not throw it. It was a frustrating performance. I honestly just can't get my head around it.
No,
he's always thrown that left hook. Always set himself up to throw the left hook. He never done it. And I did say that these fights, this intrigues me. I said it last week, didn't I, as to how he's going to perform now that the juice is not there and how he's going to perform. And and the same with Devin Haney, how he's going to be like when he takes a shot.
Cool, yeah.
And it looks, both of them don't look the same from that fight. They don't look the same. Now, you can go in down the PED's route as to why Garcia, but like I say, Devin Haney's another one. And he wasn't juiced up.
The PED, look, tongue-in-cheek, kids, the drugs do work. When you look at those, when you look at Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, look at Ryan Garcia versus Rowley on Saturday. Same guy, same man, just completely different fighter. Looked like a complete novice in there, and I couldn't tell whether he didn't want to be in there or he just was void of ideas. And you just said there, you're right what you're saying. There was more output from Rowley. Rowley didn't do a lot, but he didn't need to. He didn't need to.
No, Rowley done enough to win the fight. Now, Rowley, he gets slagged off in every single podcast. We're guilty of it. No one's a fan of him and that now, but that's a cracking win he's just had there. Yeah, and he hasn't had to do it. He hasn't had to do a lot for it. He's been like, he's just beat a top name. So now he's going nowhere now. Rowley's back in the mix. And you know what? You can only beat what's put in front of you. But it was weird. Like I say, Rowley's just done enough, and but he ain't come out of it with like, oh my god, this is he was fantastic. He threw a double left hook. One of them was on the gloves. The one that actually put him down was on the gloves. The first one was a great shot. Don't get me wrong, but he's done Garcia with a shot that Garcia does everyone with.
More or less, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but it was more Garcia being awful than Rowley being great. But credit where he's got the win, so fair play to him. He does. The man does take some stick, but like I say, he hasn't set the world alight either. And like I say, it takes two to tango. But you had it right. His footwork, Garcia's footwork, was just none and void. There was no footwork there, no hand speed. It's an odd performance for me. And it's back to the drawing board for him. What do you do with him now? I honestly don't know. Who'd you put him with? I couldn't.
Well, it was supposed to be set up for Devin Haney, wasn't it? But no man and his dog wants to see that now.
I couldn't think of anything worse based off of Friday night. I could not think of anything worse. It would be fucking awful.
I just mentioned Devin Haney there, guys. So Devin Haney, they've just said there about Ryan being gun shy. I think Devin Haney looked absolutely petrified on Friday night, and I mean petrified of getting touched with anything. I don't like using the phrase, and Dave doesn't as well, and he can speak for himself. Running because it is sweet science. It is hit and not get hit, and I totally get that. But there has to be a time when you look at a fighter and watch what he does and call it out for what it is. Devin Haney won every minute of every round on Friday night by tippy-tappy, pot-shotting and running. He ran. He didn't want any piece of Ramirez. And Ramirez, in the end, Dave, midway through the fight, you could tell he was like, fuck this. I'm just going to plug forward. I'm getting paid anyway. Fuck it. I'm not going to throw anything. I'm not going to bother. What is the point? And you can see the frustration in him as well. And it turned into an absolute stinker. Now, I said last week, this fight would be a kind of a masterclass from Devin Haney, a kind of a pro-grade part 2, or it'll be a stinker. And it turned out to be a stinker. I can't see anybody, unless you're a staunch Devin Haney fan, have anything positive to say about that fight because it was boring. And I sound like a hypocrite saying because I love sweet science. That wasn't sweet science. No. That was tap and run. That was like playing in the schoolyard when you tag someone and run away. That's literally all he done for 36 minutes. And it was boring, it was off-putting, and it was a semi-final going into a final with Ryan, who was equally as rubbish, that no motherfucker wants to see. And I feel sorry for Turkey because he's putting these fights together for the fans, for the people, and he didn't turn up. They didn't turn up, mate.
Yeah. Like you got it right. There is a difference between the sweet science and running. There's a difference between working off the back foot, hit and not get hit, slip and move. Then there is running. And you had it right. And he was going round the ring like that, and then back on himself like that, and not engaging. And then when he did get sort of cornered and Ramirez threw a few shots, he was sort of pure panic. He'd throw two and then he'd be out and he'd be gone. He didn't want any of that. It was and this is the questions. These are the things that I was wanting to see. I was wondering, because going back to the original Garcia fight, I know it's an O on his record and that. I think it's mentally scarred him. I think that and it looks to be that way. It looks to be that he's mentally scarred from that, because he don't want any part of any type of engagement with anyone. Up to this point. Listen, we always knew he's a fantastic boxer. The sweet science. That was what he'd always done.
He's still got that. He's still got that, Dave. He's still got that, hasn't he?
He looks like he's scared. He looks like he's scared. So he's adding that style with someone that's petrified. So now it's a completely different thing. He wasn't like that before. And getting knocked down 3 times the way he did. And I said the same with Bakole. Now we'll go on to him later, but you got once you're heavily knocked down. I know he jumped on a plane and but subconsciously, mate, you might not even think about it during the fight, but subconsciously it's there. And that looked like to be what happened with Devin Haney. Now, these 2 fights here have got the lowest output of punches thrown.
Top 3, aren't they? Top 3, I think. I think one of the other ones was, I might be wrong, guys. Who's the Cuban fella? Rigo against Casemiro. I think that was even worse about 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, I think it's the top 3. Both those fights, Dave, for being the lowest output. Those 2 fights combined had less output than Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn the week before. That just sums it up. That's poor. That is. And the thing is,
I see something written today as well, saying like Turkey. Obviously he pays so much money. And these people, these fighters. Now, I don't want to label them that, but they've gone in there. They've won. Do they give a fuck? Because they're getting paid fortunes. They're getting paid absolute fortunes anyway. How does Turkey get them in there, pay them a fortune, and make them engage and fight? You know what I mean? You're paying for the names to be in there, because he's not making no money, Turkey. You know what I mean? If he's going into places where there's only 200 seats and he's doing it, he's not making any money from these events. Yes, he's putting eyes on Riyadh, which is the bigger picture, which is what he wants. All eyes on Saudi Arabia, the kingdom, and that lot. But he's not making any money from these events. Now, if he's putting these events on and the fighters are performing like that, because it is their choice to perform like that. You know what I mean? But
you could take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It's that kind of attitude, isn't it?
That's exactly it. So even in paying all these big purses and that, well, to get that, you know what I mean? If that happens on a Frank Warren show or Eddie Hearn show, they're getting absolutely lit up on social media about this and that, aren't they? You know what I mean? About the cards they're putting on. But this is the first time Turkey's going to come under some criticism for some cards. He hasn't had it yet.
It's not his fault. It ain't his fault.
It's not his fault. But he's got it's a difficult one, because like I say, he's paying a fortune.
Yeah, you're right, but you can't win. So he's put 6 names there, stellar names. Obviously, 3 of them are stellar names, but you still got Barbosa, who's 32-0 unbeaten, has had the performance of his life against Jack Catchall. The boxing world know about him, and a former unified champion Ramirez. There's 6 names there, and not one of them performed. Yeah, we'll go into tier in a minute, and I'll get you. He was the best out of the lot, but I don't understand what more Turkey can do. If he gave us 6 fights that no soul have ever heard of, we'd be saying, well, he's got all this money. Why is he putting this fight on? Nobody wants to see that. And he's put fights on that people kind of do want to see.
Yeah.
It's in a no-win situation sometimes like that, mate. But
it definitely isn't his fault. Listen, you can see the plan was. Listen, if Haney went in there and had a great performance, same with Garcia, got a stoppage against Rowley, they're facing off and it's going to be, when the rematch is on. Yeah, and everyone's on it. But it didn't work out that way. And it isn't Turkey's fault, but Turkey must be fucking fuming.
Yeah, he didn't look happy, mate. Because
he would be. No.
He did not look happy from the few things I saw of him. Him being on his phone and facial expressions as to say, what the fuck is this? But let's finish off the Friday night one with Teofimo Lopez. Yes, you are right. He was the best out of the 3. But again, for me, mate, it wasn't vintage Teo. I I thought we were going to get. I hoped we were going to get the Josh Taylor version. Yes, he was in there. He was a lot quicker than Barboza. Landed some nice shots. Don't know why he's fucking about doing the alley shuffle and all that. I'm not interested in that. It was a good performance, but it wasn't his best performance. And Arnold Barboza Jr. again. A little bit frustrated with him, Dave. He's waited this long to get a title shot. He's in there. It's your chance. He kind of, I'm not going to say he gave up. I'm never going to say because he didn't give up, but he didn't do anything more than throw single shots. He didn't change it up. He caught Tio with a lot of shots, but in those 3-minute rounds, Tio was just doing a little bit more than him, more eye-catching work. Him and his corner did not change it up over 36 minutes. And I thought, you can get to Tio here. You're closing the distance. You are landing ones. You are scoring against him. I think he hit him. I think it might be in the 7th or the 8th, and he pushed Tio right back. And I thought, go on.
He didn't roll the dice.
Didn't roll the dice at any. Yeah, that's it, Dave. You're right. Didn't roll the dice at any stage.
You know what it was as well. You know what, he done it in the Jack Catching fight as well. There don't seem to be levels in the change up in levels during the fight. You know, like going through the gears with him. He seems to just stay at one level the whole way through. And the difference in this fight is that Tio had a lot of head movement. You know, he was doing stuff, slipping some shots, some eye catches, then throwing good shots and move. There was flashes of brilliance from Tio in it.
Yeah,
but like you say, it was very few and far between. But there, you know, when you're looking at across the 3 fights, the more the Razumats has, and it wasn't all constantly, but the more of the sparkle was from Tio. There was glimpses of it there. He had his moments. I know he was showing off at the end, but he did show a lot of head movement and some very good lateral movement in some of when he was under fire. Yes, he got caught with shots, but But for me, Arnold Barboza, he just sort of looked to me that he didn't have another gear to go through. He's sort of stuck in second gear. And against a fighter like Jack Catcher, who does pretty much the same, he'll wait, for his, you get away with it. But I think Teofimo Lopez definitely does have gears. Now he probably didn't. He probably looked at it and thought, well, I'll go with Barboza and Boza's ears. So he just done a little bit more. I feel like if Barboza had put some more pressure on, I thought you would have seen a better Tio. But for me, it's a better performance in the last few from Tio. And I stand by what I say with him. He performs to the level of opponent that he's being given. So if it's not a name, he can't be asked. I feel like he gave Barboza a little bit more respect. I feel like he prepared for this one a little better. He looked a bit better to me in his mind. I know everyone. Teofimo Lopez has always been questioned about, his mental capacity.
He looked relaxed, didn't he? He looked all week. He's looked relaxed.
Yeah, he looked a better version of himself. Whatever demons he's got, his life is out there for everyone to see with his misses and kids, and he seemed a lot of happiness. And I feel like it was a better performance from Tio. Listen, I'm not going to stand on there now and go, I'm sold on him. He's great. He's back. But I do feel that depending on his opponent, we've said this before, is how he performs. And I feel he gave a bit more respect to Barboza. And so he prepared a bit better. And you saw that in his performance. Yes, it wasn't vintage, but it was a better performance. And I think if Barboza had put it on him, I think that Lopez would have gone up a few more gears as well and gone with him and made a fight of it. But he didn't need to, because for me, Barboza was just on this same sort of plateau all the way through.
Yeah.
So fair. It was a better one. It was a better one of the 3 fights for me.
Yeah. Plus, the old man didn't seem to be involved as much this time, so maybe that's a positive thing for Teofimo. It's for senior not to be involved. I expected a little bit more from Barboza, especially he probably won't get another title shot now for, I don't know.
No.
Not for a while. So yeah, it was a shame. And obviously we'll jump into Saturday night as well, guys. In Riyadh, Canelo versus William Skull. I called it last week. I said this is what would happen. Now, don't get me wrong. I said William Skull would feel the power of Canelo and want no more to do with him. But he didn't really feel the power of Canelo early on or anything. William Skull looked very good. He's got the Cuban style. He's got great feet. His movement's beautiful. But while he's fucking around like that, start throwing some shots, because Canelo is slow. I don't care what anybody says. He is slow. He plods forward. He looks to go to the body to break you down and then stop you. Canelo just plod forward all night. Yes, don't get me wrong. William Skull didn't want to engage at all. So he was running around. He was frustrating Canelo. Canelo was landing the odd shot here and there. He was winning the rounds. There's no dispute that he won it. But it became very rinse and repeat. And what you're seeing is now, it's not always Canelo's fault, mate. What you're seeing now with your William Skulls, with your Edgar Belangas, with your Charlos, all these guys, your Munguias, all these guys at his fault, they're celebrating going 36 minutes with him. That's what they're doing. They've got no intention. They don't look to have intention to try and stop him or outbox him or beat him. And that's what you could see from the very start with William Skull. There was this fight. There was no point to it. There was no point because William Skull won that belt because Canelo had to vacate. All Canelo's just done is pick up a paycheck and walk around the ring for 36 minutes doing nothing. I said that's what it would be, and this is what it's going to be, Dave, until Canelo gets an opponent like David Benavidez who's going to step to him and put it on him, because it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I agree. Like I say, you're right. He looks very slow. He looks very flat-footed as well, Canelo. Yes.
Very
When
hittable,
he gets
Dave.
into range,
Very hittable, Canelo.
He always. So yeah, I mean, he's always been a good lateral movement and a decent enough defense. But he does throw a lovely shot. When he can get into range, he was throwing to the body. You know, he has got that in his locker. But anyone that's got any type of movement will frustrate him all night long. And that's what happened with Skull. But Skull, he was frustrating, but he frustrated me because, again, like what you said there, he's on the back foot again. He's too much movement, but there's no output to it.
No output, no.
So all Canelo's doing is just following him around the ring, trying to cut him off. Correct. And it's cat and mouse. And it's shit. Boring. It's shit. And it isn't Canelo's fault. It really isn't Canelo's fault. But what it's done now, but I was watching Canelo's feet though, and I feel like and you already said it, and you said it previously, he is slowing down. He is slowing down now, and like I say, his footwork, he's flat-footed now. He's just plodding forward with a high guard. If he gets you on the ropes, his shots repertoire is class, so he can do damage. So if you back yourself onto the ropes and try and take shots, he'll take you out. But William Skull's not going to do that, not at all. But what it has done for me, obviously they faced off after with Crawford. I've never liked the fight, but we're looking at the Canelo that I've seen in the last couple of fights, especially the way he moves now. And I think Crawford's got a massive opportunity here to.
You know what you're saying that there, because you know Crawford can. If Crawford can, it's obviously he's going up to 168. There's a lot of weight to carry, but if he can carry it well, if Crawford's moving like that, he's throwing and he's landing as well.
Crawford's not doing all that movement without any output.
Exactly. I find out. Sorry, mate. I was just saying, I find it a little bit embarrassing for William Skull with the weekend. He was fighting to become undisputed champion of the world. Yeah, and he does that.
Yeah, but that's again, and I don't want to keep banging on about money, but he boxed like a man that was fucking like thinking, oh, well, I'm set for life here. Do you see what I mean? Instead of going there, with all this money flying around, I feel like the hunger to be a champion sort of diminishes. Do you see what I mean? Because when you get to that point, and usually you haven't made a fortune yet. You know what I mean? You win this fight and it sets you up for life. I feel that with this turkey money, by the time you get to that point, you've already set for life. Do you really have the desire to be a champion? Because don't get me wrong, everyone does have that in them, but it's also life changing as well for everyone around you. And if it's like football wise, it's like like you get to the FA Cup semi-final, you play it at Wembley. It's it sort of takes it away from playing it at Wembley in the finals. Do you sort of understand what I'm getting at? Yeah. I'm not saying that is what it is, but sometimes when I see performances like William Skull, it's almost like he's won without winning. I know he's a world champion, don't get me wrong, and you never take that away from him, regardless of the situation on how he got it and whatnot. But this is undisputed. So it frustrates me. And it's easy for me and you to say because we talk it and they do it, but it's almost like it's silk pajamas time, like what Hagler said. It's hard to get up in the morning when you're running in silk pajamas, and I almost feel like some of these fighters, their silk pajamas are on before instead of greatness, and that's how I felt about William Skull. He didn't want to get in there, try and make a dog, go out on his shield. You know what I mean? If he gets knocked out, so what? I went out there. I tried to rip the belts from him. He's just danced around in front of Canelo, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, you can tell in our voices, guys. It's Monday. I haven't listened to any other podcasts. I've had a flick through Twitter, but we're voicing other people's frustrations, if you like. Now, Munguia against Bruno Siraj Part 2. It was an okay fight. I mean, Siraj was a lot more confident this time, and why wouldn't he be? Yeah. He was a bit more engaging this time. He came forward. He won a few rounds. He done really well. Obviously, Munguia did win the fight. There's no question there. Yeah. He looks a little bit. Not gun shy, but he looks a lot more cautious this time round.
So I'll tell you, when you take a shot, mate, when you get knocked out, you're never the same. I don't care.
He looked very cautious, mate, of anything that Siraj was doing, and you can understand it. That was from all the fights we reviewed so far. That was more the most competitive of the night. Obviously, you know that Munguia got it done on points. Siraj has come out of this looking very good, I think, because he's gone from a fighter that no one's ever heard fighting in the back streets of France or wherever it was to now he's going to be, I'm not saying he's going to be a contender, but he'll get a lot of work off of this.
Oh, he will get some work, yeah.
Munguia, let's be totally honest, Dave. When he was made an opponent for Jaime Munguia back in the last year, he was brought in, he was cherry-picked to just be cannon fodder to the New Year celebrations, to beat him up in his own backyard of Tijuana, and let's move on to bigger and better things. This wasn't supposed to happen, and he was supposed to stop him this time, put the right wrong, which he got the victory, but he couldn't get rid of him. And to be fair to Siraj, mate, very comfortable with Munguia's power. When we've seen Munguia, starch guys, beat guys up, nail them, couldn't get rid of him.
No. So I want to give a bit of credit to Siraj, to be fair.
Definitely, man.
I thought that Munguia would come in there and make a statement saying, "You embarrassed me, like, it's knockout of most people of the year for most people. I'm going to come out there, I'm going to destroy you and let you show you that was luck, that was luck, and that was more me taking me eye off the ball." And Siraj went to 12 of him. Now it's a moral victory because he was getting battered in the first fight, but no, he did come in there with confidence, and fair fucking play to him. He made a fight of it. He tried harder than the first 3 fights we've just reviewed. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
That's someone that doesn't have, the silk pajamas. That's someone that's working their way up, and every it makes a difference to him. He's got the desire, and fair play to him. He tried his best. He won rounds, and he made a fight of it. Everyone predicted him that Munguia was going to blast him out of there. Everyone did.
Yeah.
And so fair play. I like that. So fair play, and I hope he gets more work out of it. Munguia,
I think he will. Yeah.
Yeah, Munguia's got a bit more rebuilding to do. I think. That's 2 poor performances. Well, I say poor performances. It was a good, decent performance, but the first one he's got iced, and this one, he's won the fight. He's won the fight comfortably enough, but he's not a sparkling performance. So we're talking about this division being packed, and you're in Billy's and all that sort of stuff. Based on these 2 performances with Siraj, he's in trouble against the guys that we mentioned, your Pacheco's and stuff like that. I think so. Based on them, I think he's got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of work to do. And you know what? Like I say, and it was because of that one punch. Because it was that one punch that sort of now everyone's going, "Oh, I'm not sure on him." But you're only as good as your last fight. And for me, he's got to improve. He's another one as to where do you go next. Because I'll be very worried about him going in with any of the names we're talking about, your Plants and all that, based on them 2 performances.
Known punchers as well.
Yeah.
What did you make of Big Martin on Saturday night, mate? Coming in at over 300 pounds as well. Whew.
I'm getting a bit pissed off with Martin Bakole. And like
I do love him, but go on.
I do, but over me, he doesn't live the life. He doesn't live the life. He's coming in at 300 pounds. He looks sloppy. Like I say, it just borders on laziness. I like Martin, I really, really do. But that Parker performance, you give him that because he wasn't training. He come on week notice. We know all the story behind it. But he's had a full camp for a Jagba, and he comes in looking a mess. He really does. And don't get me wrong. He obviously he done 10 rounds, and but he was a lot fitter. But come on, like he wants to be like world champion and stuff like that. Look, fucking put everything into it. He's another one for me that doesn't. He doesn't live the life. He does not live the life. And for me, he's lucky to have got a draw. He's lucky to have got a draw.
I thought it was the right result, personally. I did, and that's not me being biased because I was cheering for Martin. I thought FA, the first 5, I had it 4-1 FA. The second 5, I had it 4-1 Martin. So I don't get me wrong. A lot of people are saying what you're saying. He probably should have lost that again.
I think if it would have gone around to a Jagbar, I would have been okay with it. Yeah, I would have been okay with it. But the issue with Big Martin is he's another one that plods forward. A Jagbar was brilliant when he didn't have his back on the ropes. When he was boxing at range and getting his shots off and showing a bit of lateral movement, Martin couldn't live with him. It's when he puts his back on the ropes that he let himself down. If they ever run that back, that's the blueprint for him. That was where Jared Anderson went wrong. If you stand in front of Big Martin can get his shots off and get his work done. See if you show any kind of movement and getting your shots off on the move and like a Jagba did. That was where a Jagba had his success. I think Martin. You look at Martin; he's a big lad. Don't get me wrong; it's easy to say he's beatable because he's a big lump. But there's a blueprint to beat him. I know you can't take Parker. Parker hit him on the top of the head and he just buzzed him. But for me, he's another one that sort of plods forward. throws, but like they very much like fucking George Foreman, but George Foreman was great. But but bang, bang. But if you move, you show any type of movement to him, you beat him. I think.
No, you're right. Jagba's definitely done homework because that was the most active I've seen him. As I said in there many times before, he's quite robotic. I still think his feet are awful. Bakole's are worse. You don't expect great feet from heavyweights. I suppose you were going down as a bookmark, like with Usyk. So forget him. But the feet of both of them are rubbish. From the top half up, Bakole's good. He's exciting. He just thinks he can walk for everybody. Maybe that's why he's weighing 300 pounds. And things like that. But at Jagba, there was improvement there. I think he needs to lay off the weights. I'll be totally honest. When he does throw a punch, it's very. You could see him coming. Martin was comfortable with his power. I think if it would have gone a couple more rounds, I think Martin was getting into the ascendancy. He could have maybe stopped him. He landed some big, beautiful shots. But FA, he ate him up. He stayed with him. I think the draw was the right result. I would think we was all expecting Martin, and after a full camp, to go in there. But I certainly was. I expected him to blast him away. But FA has made adjustments. I don't know if I want to see a rematch, but it's more. I think we're more kind of disappointed and shocked, but I'll be shocked about Martin Bakole's lifestyle. I mean, those videos we saw him running in the Congo, he looked like he was in camp, but he's coming bigger. I know Billy Nelson said he was 15 pounds lighter than when he came into the Parker fight. So I don't know. Look, Dave, he's entertaining. He's always got a smile on his face. There's knockouts coming with him, but again, just kind of top the weekend, the Friday and Saturday off. I was just thinking we was expecting a little bit more from Martin. If I'm totally honest, I didn't expect nothing from FA Jagba apart from power, but he kind of surprised me because there was a bit of lateral movement there, and we don't normally see that with his robotic style, do we? So,
he's obviously looked at the Jared Anderson fight because Jared Anderson stood straight in front of him and got absolutely banged around the ring for 5 rounds, knocked down numerous times. So he's obviously took for that, and that is the right thing to do. And he's made more of a fight of it. I'm just disappointed. Like, as soon as I see him, before I see him in the weigh-in and it's just disappointing. I like Big Martin, I do, and I think he could be a major player, but he ain't going to be if he doesn't shift the weight. He comes in too big, so he'd always be in the peripheries of it. He'd always be fringe world level. He'll get fights and whatnot, but if he lived a life, he'd be a big player. Now I know. I mean, we're fickle because we were saying Big Martin after he splattered Jared Anderson, this is it and whatnot. But you've got to say it as you see it. Like, he's too big. He's too big. And like you said there, when he did throw some lovely shots, especially to the body and whatnot. When he had him on the ropes, there was a couple of lovely shots he threw in there. So he has got that in his locker. But it's too much weight to carry around for me. And like I say, anyone with like lateral movement will dance around him and box. Like I don't want to talk about it because he's tired, apparently. You see Tyson Fury. Now, I know he's a different type of heavyweight that we've never seen before for someone as big as him, but up on his toes, plenty of movement.
Yeah,
he would have double jabbed him and spun him round. You know what I mean? He'd have done all that sort of stuff with him. He wouldn't have laid on the ropes and let Big Martin tee off on him. So there's a blueprint there. There really, really is. Now it's easy to say because it's 10, 12 rounds. It's hard to be able to keep up that pace of movement. Of so there'll be times when you're going to have to stand in the pocket and throw. But that's all Martin seems to have. He walk you down, get you back on the ropes and tee off. But after, it's a lovely weapon to have. Don't get me wrong, but I was more disappointed and fucked off with him before he got in the ring than actually in the ring. Yeah. Because I thought he was going to go away after the Parker fight. Listen, he got his money to do that. Go away, really knuckle down, take a Jagba out, and then go wherever he's going to go next. I just feel like he's just
become the boogeyman again. Yeah.
I think he's just stagnant now.
Yeah.
But for me, he doesn't strike fear in anyone based on on Saturday's performance. I think the fear factor and the boogeyman, like you said, title is gone.
It's disappearing. Yeah, it's fading. Yeah, you're right.
It's fading. Yeah,
it's definitely fading, mate.
He might get more fucking work out of it. He might get more fights out of it. So it might be a blessing in disguise. But he needs to shift the timber.
Yeah, that's fair, mate. That was Friday and Saturday. I'm glad we've got that out of the way. Sunday. So I woke up this afternoon, switched on me telly, went and watched the 2 fights, or 3 fights, should I say, that we reviewed. I just want to say, Cardenas, fair fucks you, man. Fair fucking fucks you. William Skull, go and watch Cardenas fighting for 5 belts. Nobody knew him. Nobody ever heard of William Skull, really, until you fought Canelo. Go and have a watch what he does. He goes out there and he tries to become undisputed champion of the world.
Yeah.
Puts it on Inoue. Tries. Yes, he comes off worse. He loses. Most people do to Inoue. But he's tried to win. He hasn't gone in there, tried to survive and said, well, I've done 12 with the monster. Fair fucks you. And look what happened. He caught him cold, knocked him down. And I've got to be honest, Dave, I love Inoue. But he's... The composure when he got knocked down, he didn't jump up to it back to his feet and ready. You know, it doesn't happen to me. He stayed on his knees. He took a breath. He listened to the ref. He got up and he was lucky the bell stopped. Went into round 3 and he hadn't fully recovered because Cardenas said, "You see him, you go straight up to him. Right, I'm going to finish this now. I'm going to get to you." And he was throwing in. You see, Inoue, he was defensive up and he came to try and hold a little bit and then he kind of composed himself again. But watching that, that's all I wanted to see. On Friday and Saturday nights. Yes, well, it wasn't world titles involved in every fight. It wasn't undisputed in every fight. But the heart, the will, and the desire made it a fantastic fight. He was better than anybody said. Everybody said, including us on this podcast, that this was another version of Jim Conju, whatever his name, the South Korean guy. It was just going over to the States, showcasing, knock this dude out, let's do MJ. Now, man, he came to fight. He came to rip up the script, and he'd give it to Inoue. He put it on. He asked Inoue questions. He was going down to the body. He was going up to the head. He was moving well. He's a tough Mexican warrior. But Inoue does what Inoue does. He works people out, and he gets to you. Fantastic, brilliant fight, Dave. Really, really enjoyed it. And it was good to see Inoue have some competition at last, even though we didn't think he would do against this level of opponent. But fair fucks to Cardenas, man. Well done, son.
A special thank you to Inoue because he saved the weekend. He has saved the fucking weekend. And even Cardenas as well. Do you know what? He's a winner anyway. He's won. Even though he's lost a bout, he's won because he was fantastic. And he'll go on now. You'll hear from him. He was great. And I know he's got the same punch that Luis Nery dropped him in. It's exactly the same one he walked on this time, and he reacted exactly the same as he did in that fight. Took his time. Not done Amir Khan, jumped up on wobbly legs. He's watched the referee count. On his fingers. Then he's got up. Pure composure, exactly the way you should do it. Take your time. There's no reason to bounce back up. But it was a great fight, and Cardenas played his part. I thought he was great. He was great. And like I say, everyone was going, "Oh, it's Inoue. What round you picking?" and all that. Yes, he got stopped in round 8, but listen, he threw everything in it. Wore his heart on his sleeve and just went for it. It's his Rocky moment. It's his shot at greatness, and he nearly done it. And fair fucking play to him. He's a winner. And you'll probably ask at the end, what's your performance of the weekend? You could put Cardenas in it, even though he lost. Do you know what I mean? And
I 100% agree.
Fair fucking play to him. And I say, and do you know what? For the effort he's put in, it's like his Josh Padley moment. Hopefully, someone goes in now. I don't know what his promotional contracts are, if he's got one or whatnot. But to try and build him up into a decent enough career. He nearly shocked the world there, and not only did he do that, his performance as well. But after that, he tried to win. And that's all you can ask. So fair play. And then the Monster does what he does. You can see the Monster had worked him out from about round 5 on, and some of the shots that he was throwing, his offensive work is unbelievable. Anyway, the shot selection to the body was just magical. Broke him down.
Class,
and dropped him in round 7 and stopped him in round 8. It was
I saw some of the comments online saying it was an early stoppage. It was you must be fucking joking.
No. He was
whoever's watched that, whoever's putting comments that haven't watched the fight, they've watched the highlights. They've watched a highlight reel. That's all they've watched. He was getting battered by that stage, and he wasn't throwing back.
From 5 on, he had the good first 5 rounds. He had the knockdown. That from 5 on, he was worked out. And
he was kept up by the rope. Well.
Yeah, he was. I've seen stuff today saying Inoue's on the slide and all that now. Come on, I know. But it was a great performance from Inoue. And Uncle Bob's got one up on Turkey this weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah. On the up, Rafael Espinoza, man. Jesus Christ, that boy.
Yeah.
You've got to put him in with Nick Ball. We've got to start unifying now because that core, I'll tell you what, mate. You're talking about performance of the weekend. Yes, obviously the level of opponent.
Yeah.
You did say it's going to be fight the weekend, and you're probably right. It's one off between that one and Inoue. Yeah. Vasquez came to fight as well, but the output from a 6'2" giant, and he was going to the body as well. He ignored the head. He was just doing body shots, but so much output. And once he finds his his range and he controls the distance. That's it. I mean, Vasquez went to the body. He tried, the first 3 or 4 rounds, but the output and the hemorrhaging and the overload, if you like, from Espinoza was too much. He just wore him down and stopped him. Brilliant. Yeah. He's going to take some fucking beating, Espinoza.
Yeah, he is.
He's a monster. He's a fucking monster, that guy.
He's massive, mate. He just overpowered him. He just overpowered him and stopped him. But he's, like I say, it's the output for someone so big as well. He's forever throwing punches. He's forever throwing punches. And they're good quality punches. They're accurate. They're spiteful. And like you say, if someone's so tall to get down, to land on the body is amazing. But I called this fight as a fucking 12-round war. I thought it was going to, I had Espinoza winning, but I felt that it was going to be a bit of to and fro. I thought it was going to be a fucking full-out brawl. But it was in the early rounds. It looked like it was going to go that way.
Dave Vasquez tried. It's a world title shot for him. He's got his opportunity, and he tried. We saw the weekend. William Skoll didn't try. Barboza, his first world title, run out of ideas. Didn't roll the dice at any stage, like you said. These guys did. Vasquez and Cardenas did. They went and tried to win a title.
Yeah. It was great. It was great. Espinoza is a problem. We knew that before, but he is. And like I say, like you say, talking about him and Nick Ball off size. And I know Nick Ball has that in every single fight that he goes into, but that's going to be a massive factor in this fight. It's got to be. But again, they both throw like fuck. So it'll make for some fight. But Espinoza is the real deal, man. And like I say, Vasquez is a great fighter as well. He was just up against someone that was more accurate, was more powerful, and just overbeared him. You know what I mean? It's so hard to fight against someone as big as you as well. But he just sort of overbearing on him and just wore him down, and then just broke him in the end and stopped him. But yeah, Espinoza was brilliant, man.
So we talk about putting the best versus the best. I mean, and they've tried it. Turks has tried it this weekend, and it didn't kind of happen for whatever reason. You put Nick Ball against Espinoza. I think if those two don't deliver, I think boxing's in a bad place. That fight would deliver.
It would.
There, the output from both guys is ridiculous.
They both go forward. I mean, they're just gonna meet in the middle.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. So
how that cannot deliver.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
As I said last week, guys, cherry on top. Emiliano Vargas done it in 2 rounds. The old 1-2, Dave. As we said, wasn't it? It's been Emiliano Vargas things.
He's back out in July, he reckons, as well. Just active as fuck. He's just doing exactly what he should do, but he's looking good at doing it. And like you said, he rocks the mic. He's a good-looking fella. He's building himself up very well. He's forever on social media.
You've said it. He's building a profile for himself before Uncle Bob puts his hand in his pockets and gives him someone who's going to throw back. You're right. That's what he's doing. Building a profile at the moment. Yeah,
and listen, I can't blame him for that. And he's doing the business in the ring. He's looking sharp, man. Yeah. He's looking sharp. He's looking spiteful. And what a prospect to have. Mine looks like he's been dumped by his promoter. So, as prospects of the year go, I think you've nailed it for this one.
He'll be back, Boston. He'll be back. Yeah. I can't see him hanging the gloves up. Which obviously, again, we spoke about it last week. I have not seen any news outlets that have confirmed that Eddie is split with him. So,
but he's not active. He's not as active as your boy.
No. Obviously not. But yeah, as you just said there, mate, when we go for the performance of the week, there's not a lot to choose from. So where you going?
Do you know what? You nailed it with Espinoza. Espinoza was superb. But I want to give it to Cardenas. I think he deserves it for the effort that he put in. Now, I think he's turned up. He's tried his art out. He's nearly shocked the world. He's dropped the undisputed champ with a fucking great shot as well, right down the middle. But he was a little bit square on again. Anyway, that's the second time he's been square on when he's been dropped like that. But no, I'm going to give it to Cardenas. I think fair play to him, and I hope that now he's put spotlight on himself and gets a good career out of it. You know what I mean? Get some good names because he other than Inoue, he gives nightmares to most of them in the division.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm going to go the same way as you, mate. On pure effort alone, he's coming in. He's tried to win 5 belts. He hasn't gone in there and looked to survive. He's not gone in there, take a punch off the monster and round the ring for 36 minutes.
As I say, in years to come, he shows his grandkids. I was a boxer. Look at this. You know what I mean? I fought for all the belts, and this is the performance. He can be proud of that performance.
Definitely against the legend as well. So yeah, I agree, mate.
Exactly.
Right. We are going to do our preview as well. We've got a couple of fights to preview from the weekend. I'm just going to go through the prediction league, ladies and gentlemen, to see where we are. Here we go. Here's my list to write it down. I'm in a different room, so I haven't got much space where I am. Right. So going into the weekend, have I pressed my banner? No, there we go, prediction league. So going into the weekend, the scores stood at myself on 8 points, Mr. Holland on 7. Here are the results. So Garcia against Rowley. We both went for Ryan Garcia, so there's no points there. Haney against Ramirez. We both went for Devin Haney on points, so there's 3 points apiece there. Tio Barbosa, we both went for Tio on points, so again, there's 3 points apiece there. Canelo versus Skull. Dave went for Canelo stoppage in round 6, so he earns a point there. I went for Canelo on points, so I earned 3 points there. Jaime Munguia against Siraj. Dave went for the KO in 1. I went for the KO in 4. Obviously, he got it done on points, so we get both earn a point apiece there. Big Martin against a Jagba. We both went for Big Martin by KO. It was a draw, so we don't earn anything for that fight. Inoue versus Cardenas. Again, KO. I went 5. Dave went 4. He done it in 8, so we get the 3 points there. Espinoza against Vargas. I went for points for Espinoza, so I earn a point. Dave went for the knockout in round 11 for Espinoza, so Dave earns 3 points there. And the last but not least, Emiliano Vargas, both went for the knockout. I said round 5. And Mr. Holland's only gone and nicked it because he's got a full house by going for Emiliano Vargas to win by knockout in round 2, which makes him this week's winner on 20 points. I got 17. They've got 20 points. So going into this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, the score stands. David Graham 8, David Holland 8.
Well I think that's my first time I've nailed a round this year. And it's your prospect that's done it for me.
I know. I know.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to nick that there because I don't actually know the results until you say them.
Yeah.
Well, I know the results of the fights, but I can't remember all the time what round we picked because it's been a week since we've done it.
Is that 3 weeks on the trot you've won now?
Yeah, well, you was taking the piss out of me, mate. So I've obviously stepped on the gas.
Stepped on the gas. See, William Skull,
Yeah.
Arnold Barboza Jr. take a leaf out of Mr. Holland's book. He's behind and he rolls the dice. He changes it up. And
rolls the dice. Gone through the gears. Championship rounds.
There you go. We know what we're talking about, guys. But yeah, 8-all. Interesting going into this weekend's boxing. We've got a few fights to quickly go through with you guys. We're going to start over in, where is it now? Miami. The Caribbean Royal in Orlando. Loads of fights there. Anyone that can't see, Daniel Pereiro versus Cesar Navarro. Now, we done Lenny Apero a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, the older brother of Daniel. Daniel is a heavyweight. His record is 10-0, 8 KOs. Again, we're not going to pretend we know anything about him. We know a bit more now, obviously, because of his brother. We've gone back and had a look at him. He's ranked 14th in the WBA top 15. He's just a place below Johnny Fisher. We just want to have a look at him. He's an Olympian. He's got more gold medals and amateur medals coming out of his arse. We've had a lot of dinners. We know the Cuban star. We know what they're all about. So we just want to have a nosy at this guy and see what he is all about. Is he a carbon copy of his brother? I know his brother's a southpaw. Pereira's an orthodox fighter. We've both gone and had a look at some footage from him. And apart from the two different stances, Dave, they're very, very similar, aren't they, in what they do in the ring?
They are very similar, yeah. They are very similar. Well, I hope so, because we said this about his brother last week, and he performed in his fight completely different to what we sort of described and what we'd seen before. But yeah, he looks very, very, very front foot. He looks to be spiteful. Decent, like I say, southpaw. So throws a lovely right hook, lovely left hook. Goes to the body. Looks again. You can see the amateur style in it, but he's sort of he's walking forward, and he's showing a lot of spite.
Yeah, he's younger as well.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate. I'll say he's younger as well. By Cuban ages, he's younger, so we don't really know his age.
But he has been,
but he has been active, where his brother wasn't active at all. I think he had 6 minutes of action, didn't he, in 3 years or so? Where Daniel has had, I think he had 4 or 5 fights in 2024, and he's back out again now in 25. Yeah. So
I was going to say, it's easy to say that, but he looked a lot sharper than his brother did in his attacks that he's throwing. So yeah, he looks good in what you can see. So we'll see how he sort of performs against Navarro when we come back to it, because we got bit the last time by his brother. But he's a front-footed fighter. And like I say, he throws a lovely shot to the body, lovely left hook. He looks like he wants to do damage. So he looks quite exciting in what he does. So we shall see. I predict. Based on what I see, I think he's going to get the stoppage again. I think I'm going to go for Pero to stop Navarro in round 6.
His last stoppage in December was a first rounder, like his brother. Navarro, from what I can see, don't know anything about him, guys. He's Mexican. I think he fights a bit of a road boy, I think, in terms of Mexico and America. Club level fighter. So, yeah, it's keep busy, build a profile if you like. I'm not sure Eddie's involved with this brother. I know it's on, and this is an MVP card. This is Dave on DAZN. Jake Paul's promotional company, but I can see it coming the same way. Cherry pick, build the profile, get the knockouts, look good, and then obviously MVP will kind of. Well, no, he's not with MVP. This is an MVP card, but he's with Box Lab Promotions, so maybe he's just trying to make a statement as well. Maybe he can jump on the MVP promotional card. But yeah, without me waffling, I'm going to go the same way. I'm going to go a bit early. I'm going to go for Pero to look good and stop this guy in 3 rounds. So yeah, just having a nosy at the 2 Cubans going forward. Oh, that's the wrong one. Jumping early there. Right, let's jump over to Saturday. UK, Nottingham Arena, Queensbury are doing their thing on DAZN now. Anthony the Apache Cacace versus Lethal Leigh Wood. This is for the IBO Super Featherweight Championship. Yes, before you laugh, it's not the fight we wanted. It's a good fight, but I've said on here before, I wanted to see Anto against Sugar Nunes for his proper IBF title. Now, I get why he's giving it up. He's getting more money to fight away from home because it's Leigh Wood's hometown, and obviously Leigh Wood would be on a good whack. He's getting more money here than he would be as the A side against Sugar Nunes. And it's a more riskier fight. It's a dangerous fight. I think if me and Dave was doing Anto versus Sugar Nunes, I'm not sure we both go for Anto at 36 years of age against a fucking killer. But that's not the fight. It's against Leigh Wood. Now, we last saw Anthony Cacace against Josh Warrington. Good performance. One easy. Better performance was against Joe Cordina, I must admit. But be fair to Josh Warrington, mate, he offered more than Joe Cordina that night. And obviously, we haven't seen Leigh Wood in about a year and a half, 2 years, I think.
Yeah, he's been really inactive.
Really inactive. So he's not with Eddie anymore. The last fight we saw him in was against Josh Warrington, and he was probably losing that fight. But he landed the money shot. He landed the big shot, and the fight was stopped despite Josh Warrington's protests and all that kind of thing. So you've got a barometer there of the fighters fighting the same fighter. You've got the inactivity from Leigh Wood. You've got Anthony Cacace, the champion, a bit more active. But what I will say, mate, on this one, I think the better boxer is Cacace by a country mile. He does everything better than Leigh Wood. And that's no disrespect, because I've also said on this podcast, and I've kind of got, I wouldn't say I've got receipts, but I've never backed him. I've barely backed him. So when he fought Kanzu back in COVID times in Eddie's Garden, I thought overachiever, he's not going to win everything. He's decent, Leigh Wood, but when he steps up to A level, not even world level, he's going to get found out. Stop Kanzu, the Chinese kid, in the last round. I ain't seen him since, and he was a massive prospect. Obviously, went in with Michael Conlon. The skill set of Conlon, he'll dance around him for 12, knocked him out, and obviously went in with Lara. Beat Lara the second time around, and obviously went in with Josh Warrington as well, which I did back him there. But I've always kind of gone against Leigh Wood, and he always comes up trumps. Now, when I say Cacace's better than Leigh Wood, technically, I stand by that. However, even though this is up at super featherweight now, for 36 minutes, whether he's a wounded animal, whether he's fresh, or whether he's labouring, Leigh Wood is as dangerous as fuck.
Yeah.
He will knock you out in those 36 minutes, whether his life depends on it. Do never write Leigh Wood off.
No.
But it's an interesting fight. As I said, it wasn't the one I wanted to see, but now I'm getting closer to it. I think it's going to be a good fight, and I'm intrigued to see what version we get of both fighters, mate, because, as I said there, Cacace was good against Warrington, but he was better against Cordina. So what are you thinking, mate?
Yeah, listen, I think this is a good fight. I can see this being a really good fight. It's taken a long time to get made and happen. It seems like they've been talking about it for a long time. Now, Leigh Wood has been inactive. He's had promotional issues. I've seen Eddie Hearn come out and say he's never made any money on a Leigh Wood fight and all that sort of stuff. They've gone their separate ways.
I find that hard to believe, Dave. I find that hard to believe when he went in with Josh Warrington.
Yeah, he said he was overpaying Leigh Wood, apparently, which is not something they should really be talking about. So I don't know whether they've got, needle with each other or not. But yeah, an active Leigh Wood. I mean, there was he was on a Cresswell wave at one point. Like you said, you rattled off the fights and that. He has got one punch power, and that's always, and like you said it before, that's the last thing to go on someone. Can he plant his feet? There's a lot of questions as to what we've got left with Leigh Wood. I'll say being out for a year and a half in the stages of the career that he was in is detrimental to him. he hasn't had any time to take any ring rust off before he gets in with Anthony Cacace. Could that be a factor? So there's a lot of questions there with Leigh Wood, but there's no doubting that he's got one punch power, and Anthony Cacace will need to be switched on for the whole of the fight, 36 minutes of the fight, because he can put his lights out. Exactly what happened to Conlan. Conlan dropped him in round 1 or round 2, and was outboxing, but then got banged out in round 12 through the ropes. So he's never out of it. But that makes for a really exciting fight. Now, Anthony Cacace, he's a sort of a pressure fighter. He likes to come forward, throw lots of shots. He's a tough man as well. He won't take a backward step. So for me, it can produce fireworks here. Again, he's coming. He had a crest of a wave with Cordina.
He's still on it. He's still on it.
Still on it. Changed his life. You know what I mean? He was one of them ones that was always getting injured. Becoming sort of an opponent for people and whatnot, not going anywhere. Then he got his shot against Cordina, which he wasn't supposed to win. Cordina was the A side. He was meant to be an opponent again, as I sort of described. And again, he's ripped the script up, changed his family's life, turkey cards, all that sort of stuff. I love that.
I think he's underrated, Dave. I think boxing ability. I think Cacace is underrated. He doesn't get spoken about enough, and maybe that's because not enough people have seen him or his inactivity. But I think he's a really astute boxer.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a very good boxer. He's a tough man. And like I say, he is fighting for his family's life. We spoke about it earlier on in the show. That's he's changed his family's life for one performance, and and this is a big fight. And but I can see this being a really, really good fight. You've got Anthony Cacace who will pressure Leigh Wood, and you've right there. He's probably the better boxer, but you've got Leigh Wood who's got one punch power. So Anthony Cacace has got to be switched on. So this is an intriguing fight. This is a hard fight to call for me. This really, really is.
Just quickly, before you make it, just quickly, do you think Cacace's done the right thing at 36 by not taking his mandatory in Nunes and gone down this route?
It's a difficult one.
What do you think? What do you think?
It's a difficult one due to his age. If he was early 30s, I would say the Sugar Nunes fight. But I can sort of understand that he's after paydays. He's become world champion, which is fantastic. No one can ever take that away from him. But probably leading up to that, he probably had a second job. You know what I mean? And he's probably thinking, Sugar Nunes is it's all well and good being a fighter and saying, I'll fight any man. I can't be beaten that. But he's probably looked at Sugar Nunes, who's younger, fresher, and he's a killer, as you said.
He is, yeah.
He's a real, he goes there. If he gets beaten and he get, in devastating fashion, there's these type of fights with Leigh Wood and that sort of, they come up, they should do, because he's a former world champion, but do they? You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's probably thinking, listen, I've achieved my dream. Let's get a couple of money fights in at 37, 36, 37. I can't blame him for that, to be fair.
Yeah,
I can't blame him for that. If he was in the prime of his life, I'm sure we wouldn't even be having this conversation. He would have been going on, I want to be undisputed, I want to unify, all that sort. I'm sure that would have happened if he'd have got, the call from Turkey 10 years ago, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair, mate.
I don't blame him. But my concern with Leigh Wood is that inactivity. I think he could have probably done with a little warm-up fight before this. So I'm going to go for Anthony Cacace to win points. I'm going to go points. I was edging towards the stoppage, but I'm going to go points.
Yeah, it's up at super featherweight as well. I think it's Leigh Wood's first dance at super featherweight. This is at 130, isn't it? Not one. Yeah, it's a super featherweight title fight, so it's not 126. So that may have a factor in it as well. Leigh Wood inactivity, as you said, age. Yes, he's in front of his Nottingham faithful, so he's going to put on a show for the fans. Look, I just said there in my opening gambit, the two performances, Warrington and Cordina, I preferred the Anthony Cacace against Cordina. He was a lot more aggressive as well, and he was looking for the KO. And you said that Leigh Wood won't take a step back. It's a tough one, but I think the skill set might kind of trump Leigh Wood's looking for the one shot. And I think the homework would have been done. And I don't think, mate, it's a hard. There's so many factors.
This is a hard one to call. It is.
I can see. That's exactly what we want. We've said it. Every week we say we don't want red corner beats blue corner. Yeah. But trying to play it out of my head like you did last week with Espinoza and the body shot, I can see Cacace getting floored early, coming back to outbox Wood and stopping Wood later on in the fight. So I'm going to go for Anthony Cacace to stop Leigh Wood in round 10. Oh, yeah, round 10.
That. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he puts him down early, gets up, and then sort of resets himself. Like, right, we've got a live dog here. Let's fucking go. Let's do what we learned in the gym. And he'll outbox him and he'll wear him down and he'll take him late. So, it's a good fight, mate. I stand by what I say, though, guys. as a boxing fan, I'd love to have seen Anto in with Sugar Nunes. Let's see how we know where Anto is in his career. Nunes is his first chance at a world title. Yes, he's getting that against the Japanese kid Rikishi next month. But I just want to see how good you really are. But never mind. This will probably turn out to be a better fight, to be fair. But yes, on this card as well, we've got Liam Davis. He's back out, mate. We last saw Liam Davis against Shabazz Massoud. I love watching Liam Davis. I think he's improved so much. Exciting fight as well. Very sharp, very fast, very exciting. But he come against Massoud, who was or is technically better than him, and it was a split decision. But on the night, I think when me and Dave reviewed it, I think Shabazz should have really got a unanimous decision. He was that good. I've never seen Liam Davis, throwing against shadows. He was he was here, then he was there. He was pivoting to the left. He was scoring really good, and that's what makes Shabazz Massoud against Peter McGraw a really, really exciting, intriguing fight. But obviously, we'll talk about that one when we come to it. But Liam Davis in against Kurt Walker, mate. I think Kurt Walker is a Conlan fighter. He's with Mick Collins' brother over there in Belfast. I think he fights mainly out of Belfast. I think he's fought in Scotland a couple of times. Don't really know anything about him, guys. But I do like Liam Davis. He's hit a road bump, if you like. It's time for him to fix that road bump, to dust himself off, move on, and then be a contender at British level, and then jump into your fringe world levels and world level. He's not an old man. There's still plenty of time for him left. He's good at what he does, and he can get better. And I think Kurt Walker, from what I've seen or know of him, not really a puncher, more of a boxer. So when Liam Davis gets in the rhythm, mate, he can punch, as we know, and I think he might do enough to stop Kurt Walker late. This is a good cherry-picked kind of opponent that maybe will ask Liam Davis questions on a boxing terms, like Massoud definitely did. But I think Liam Davis might have too much for Walker. Get to him late again and stop him and put a bit of a statement and say, right, I'm back now, guys. I fell off the wagon against Massoud. I'm back now. Let's jump up and I'll get the rematch, or give me McGrail or someone like that next. I ain't done just yet. So I'm going to go straight in here, mate. I think Liam Davis is going to stop Kurt Walker late again. I'm going to go, well, latest, just before the championship rounds. I'm going to go round 9.
Yeah, I agree. Looking at Kurt Walker's box rec there, so he's had 12 wins and only 2 KOs. So it's suggesting that he's not, he hasn't got much pop.
Yeah.
So Liam Davis is the stronger fighter there. Is the bigger puncher out of the two. So I expect Kurt Walker to be a decent enough boxer, a slip boxer. I think it would take a few rounds for Liam Davis to work him out. I think he's going to be a bit, like you said, a live dog in the last review. I think for the first half of the fight, I think he'll be competitive. I think it'll be a little bit of I wouldn't say a chess match, but I think Kurt Walker will show some decent enough skills. But I do think that, like you said, as you're coming into the championship rounds, I feel like the experience and the know-how will take over. And I think Liam Davis, I'm going to go for a stoppage as well. I think Liam Davis will outwork him. Change up and go through the gears. And I think he'll stop him in round 8.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Obviously, he's with Conlan Boxing. They like to box rather than attack and aggression.
I can see him. But not many people will know of him. But I can see him. I can see him showing a few decent enough shape, throwing some good skills there. He doesn't look like he's got much pop, but I bet he can box all right. I bet he's going to. I think it's going to take Liam Davis a little while to work him out. I think experience would be key.
If he does do that, mate, and he starts throwing and missing and hitting shadows again, Davis is going to get frustrated. So it could turn into a really intriguing fight. And when you talk about skill sets and things like that, but Davis is fast. I do like the kid.
I do.
So that'd be interesting. So that's on the Zone, ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday nights. I think we've got Sam Noakes is doing a bit there as well, but I think he's in with a Czechoslovakian fucking Binman, Dave. I'm not even going to bother to review that one. That's literally a keep busy. I think Chris Congo's on the cards. Ezra Taylor's on the card as well. Some decent names on there. So that'd be a good night's boxing in Nottingham for us over in the UK.
Might try and get that in Benidorm.
Yeah. Yeah, and while you're in Benidorm, mate, early hours in the morning. I don't know, what's the time difference in Benidorm between us and them?
An hour, I think.
Oh, fuck all then. So you'll be in the bars. There's Sky Sports over there, ESPN, I'm guessing. Emmanuel Navarrete, he's back early hours Sunday morning for us in the UK and in Benidorm, obviously. He's taken on Filipino Charlie Suarez for his, I think it's his WBO world title, his featherweight title. He's back down at featherweight now. Navarrete guys. We know he had 2 below par performances. Yes, one against Conceição, which was a draw. And obviously, when Denis Berinchyk at 130 wasn't for him. He lost the shot at the title that night. He's gone back down to his natural weight, if you like, looking to clean up and mop up here. Charlie Suarez, again, don't know too much about him. I know he come from the Philippines. I know he's fought in the States his last 3 or 4 fights. He's got a shot of gold here. Intriguing fight. I've had a look at Charlie, Dave. I like what I see. This could be more competitive than it looks on paper. He carries a beautiful right hook. His right hand's dangerous. He looks like a counter puncher, and he counter punches that right, and he's caught a lot of his opponents off guard with that right hand. Yes, it's a different animal. Navarrete. He's a pressure fighter, throws lots of shots from mad angles, carries freakish power himself. I can see a little bit of a war here. And again, Charlie Suarez, Dave, Filipino from a kind of a poor country, poor background, getting this opportunity. He's going to look to roll the dice against Navarrete and try and become world champion and change his life and make himself a superstar in his home country. I don't think this is going to be a William Skull kind of moment. He's going to try because he'll make a statement here, and then he becomes the hunted. But I love, we've always from day one, we spoke about Navarrete. I just love his unusual, unorthodox style. Another tall fighter that makes the weight easy somehow and brings it every time he fights. He does try, he does throw, he's exciting, he gets knockouts. I just love watching him, and I'll be watching him anyway because I'll be at work, but I can't wait to see Navarrete do Navarrete thing. So I'm going straight in here. I think Charlie Suarez is going to have his moments. I think he's actually going to win rounds, but I think Navarrete will be too much. The output, the strength, the size of him will just, I can see him teeing off him against the ropes and it getting stopped. But I think it's going to be a decent fight, even though on paper it doesn't look like it. So I'm going to go Navarrete to stop Charlie Suarez, round 9.
Yeah, again, I'm with you. I had a little look at Suarez leading up to this. He's game. He's game. And he, like you said about being a war, I totally agree. I think he's going to meet him in the middle. I think he's going to go in the pocket. He's going to throw lots of shots, and he is going to win rounds. So Navarrete is going to have to work hard here. Because, again, you said there, he throws a lovely right hook. He carries power himself. And so, for me, Navarrete's got to be switched on in this fight because I think he's a live opponent. Suarez is definitely a live opponent. So I can see this being a war. I can see Suarez coming out with some credit in this fight after, regardless of what I pick on the result. I think it's gonna be another one of them where he makes a good account of himself.
That was better than expected, basically.
I think it's going to be a decent fight. This purely from what I've seen stylistic wise from Charlie Suarez. I say he's quite happy to stand in the pocket and throw shots. Yes, he's a counter puncher, but from what I see there, he's quite happy to go on the front foot. And again, Navarrete won't take a backward step. So for me, it should create a really good fight. It's just whether he can keep the pace up. In what I've seen in Charlie Suarez's fight, he looks to have it all of his own way. I've not seen him going with someone of Navarrete's caliber.
Yeah, it's a big jump up, isn't it? It's a big jump in levels.
Yeah, that's what I mean. How does he react when he gets pushed back? Because Navarrete will push him back. Because in the footage that we've seen of him, he's on the front foot. So I think he's going to be a live dog for the first half of the fight. For me, I think he's going to be in it. I think he's going to throw some lovely shots. I think Navarrete. I don't see him pushing Navarrete back, but I see him being in the pocket with him and fighting fire with fire. I just think that in the later rounds, Navarrete, because he's got so much output,
and experience as well.
He just doesn't stop throwing. I just feel like he's going to wear him down. We've seen Navarrete do it for 12 rounds. I don't know that Suarez can do the same.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. What round did you pick? You picked 8, didn't you?
8. Yeah, I think I picked 8, didn't I? I'm sure I did. It's either 8 or 9. Yeah.
I'm going to go round 10 for Navarrete. I think that Suarez is going to come out of it with some credit. They'll be like, from this fight. I think he's going to make a really good account of himself. I just think that it's just going to be a little bit too much pressure because Navarrete doesn't let up, and the amount of punches that he throws, I just don't see Suarez keeping him off, and I just think he's just going to take all of his soul, and and he'll go out on his shield. But I just think it'd be like a TKO sort of victory where the referee jumps in. Round 10 for me.
Yeah. More people know about Charlie Suarez on Sunday morning than they did beforehand. Put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, final fight, guys. I'm looking forward to this one. When it was announced, this is a great fight. Raymond Muratalla versus Zaur Abdullaev. Muratalla's 22-0, 17 knockouts. Abdullaev's 20-1 with 12 KOs. But don't be fooled by that one. Yes, he was beaten by Devin Haney, but it was stopped on a cut. So he hasn't been knocked out, sparked out, beaten up. This is a really intriguing fight. This is two completely different styles. You've got Muratalla with his speed and his spite, and you've got Abdullaev with that pin perfect fucking jab. This is what I want to see again. Now, this is hard to decide who wins this fight because we've seen Muratalla cruise and we've seen Muratalla look okay, laboured, and we've kind of seen the same of Abdullaev, even though his fights are hard to get a hold of because he fights mainly in Russia. But sometimes you just can't land on the dude, and then sometimes you think, well, how's he struggling against so and so? But they're both going to be in their A game. I think this is like for an interim belt, so there's something on the table for them both here. Going into this last one, Dave, I'm excited, but I haven't come to a conclusion yet because I can see Abdullaev dominating with a jab, frustrating Muratalla, but I can also see Muratalla getting in close, working him out, landing one of the big haymakers, wobbling him and stopping him. I mean, how do you see in this one, mate?
This is the fight of the weekend. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is the fight of the weekend. You know, this is a really, really hard one to call because they're both fantastic fighters. So this is a 50-50 fight. This is a really, really difficult one to call. You had it there. Muratalla can blow hot and cold sometimes, but he does carry power. He does carry power. So
he's fast as well. He's got some speed on him.
Yeah, he has. And like you said there, Abdullaev is a fantastic boxer. Like you said, in with Devin Haney, he got stopped on a cut. He was doing okay in that fight up to that point. So it's a shame that fight was stopped the way it was because you didn't really see a definitive outcome.
And that was in 2019, by the way. So it's a long time ago. He's improved since then.
Oh, absolutely. This is a difficult one to call, this, mate. Both really, really good fighters. This is a 50-50 fight. Oh,
home fighter, isn't it, Muratalla? You've got to look into that as well. On home soil, top ranked fighter. He don't like to go down that way, but if it's a close fight, we kind of say tongue in cheek, the card's already in. If it's a close fight, I hate to say that, but
this is going to go. This is going to go either way for me, mate. I think they're both going to have their moments. I think it's going to be one of them fights where you have your dance partner and it brings the best out of you. I think these two guys, are going to bring the best out of each other. I think it's going to be a really, really close fight, but I'm going to edge to Muratalla on points.
Yeah, same.
And it's not because of the cards. What you said there, I just think he's just going to do that little bit more. And like you said there, I think he carries a little bit more power. So the eye catching shots that he throws are going to look like they're going to do more damage. Abdullaev, Abdullaev is a very good, boxer. Throws lovely jab. Those combinations. Yeah, he does, and he does have eye-catching work. I just feel that the power. I think that the Raymond Muratalla's got the power to make a difference. Now he may not stop him, but I think when he throws a shot, it's going to be a shot when it lands. All the people on the comms and that are going to be like, oh my god, that's what we're you're going to get all that.
What's Tim Bradley go? Bradley goes, oh. Yeah, you're right. I 100% agree with you. I think the eye catcher work for the judges is going to. Muratalla's style is more appealing, unless it's a one-sided shutout by Abdullaev, which it could be.
Yeah, they both got that in their locker to do it. But I just think like Muratalla just carries a bit more power, so I think his shots will have more of an effect.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, points. So we're both going points then for Muratalla versus Abdullaev, and I'm with Dave. Out of all the fights, don't get me wrong, Cacace and Wood's a brilliant fight as well. A really intriguing fight. Probably could be fight of the weekend, but as a boxing hardcore, this is the one I'm super looking forward to at the weekend. So before we say goodbye and fuck off, we're going to do the winners weekly wager. Obviously there was £48 in the pot last week. Dave won again last week. He went for Vargas to do the business in round 2. He earned us 6 points, so those 6 points turn into £6. Gets doubled to £12. So going into this week, mate, we've got £60 in the charity pot.
Very nice.
Of your choice. However, when I say of your choice, we've had a thing come up today with one of our favourites, not our favourite boxer, female boxer, Yasmina Sapotochna, is doing an auction for a charity. And when you win the auction, whoever wins the auction, it goes towards, I think it's like a cats and dogs home thing for, I'm not too sure. It's to do with animals anyway. But the benefit of winning that bidding process is that you get to spar with Yasmina Sabatochna, and you know how much we love her. So I'm not saying that's where the money's going, guys. I'm just saying it's a fucking option. However, there is £60 in the pot. I've got my fingers crossed. Okay, £60 in the pot, and obviously Dave, he did win last week yet again, so he picks this week's banker of the week. So the winner's weekly wager, mate. Where you going?
I think there's very close fights. Obviously, you've got Navarrete Suarez. I think that'll be a decent enough fight. I still think Navarrete will win, but I think Suarez will make a good point. So I could not do Muratalla versus Abdullaev as a banker. Same with Cacace and Wood. I wouldn't like to see. I'm down to Liam Davis versus Walker and Daniel Pero against Navarro.
No, I went Pero. I went for his brother. Do you remember?
You did.
And he let me down.
He fucked you right up. But I believe in his brother. From what I see, I think Daniel looks better. I don't know if you agree. I think he looks better. So I think he's not going to let us down. So I'm going to go for the brother Pero, Daniel Pero, for this week's winner's weekly wager.
Fair enough. Yeah, I would probably go on the same way, to be honest, mate. There is some close fights this weekend. So there you have it, guys. That's our review and preview from the weekend and the weekend going forward. Now, you won't see us now till sometime next week. I'm literally back to normal the weekend. Football season's finished. I think the lad might have a friendly, but it's kind of irrelevant. So I'll be having a few hours just catching up on boxing news, if you like. So mine's going to be very, very boring. For Dave, on the other hand, stag do weekend, mate. How much are you looking forward to it before we say our goodbyes? Because I want a before and after. So the next episode, guys, will be a little bit of boxing, a little bit of Muratalla, a bit of Cacace, a bit of Pero, and the majority of it will be Dave's piss up from the weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, how much are you looking forward to it, mate? I know most of us know anyway, but just
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, mate. You know, it's going to be great. It's going to be a good laugh. It's going to be some stories. 30 blokes pissed up for 3 days, 4 days. It's going to be chaos, but yeah. I mean, I could say I'm not looking forward to how I'm going to feel when I get back, but fuck it, you only live once. So yeah. I'm really looking forward to it, mate. Yeah, let's get this week out of the way for work. I've only got 3 days because of this bank holiday. So yeah, it'll be fun, mate, and I'll have plenty of stories for you. So yeah.
Look after Mickey. Look after Mickey.
Yeah, he's already talking about he's having he put in the group, believe it or not. Anyone want to go and have a spar while we're there?
Jesus Christ.
Can you imagine? As if you'd put that in a group for the blokes that are going to stag do. No, funny enough, the whole message got ignored. But
by the way, people, when Dave's saying that, he's not lying. That's the kind of guy he is, isn't he? That he'll wander off and he might want to do a bit of shopping, a bit of sightseeing. Oh, come on, man.
Well, he did say because Adam Miller can't go due to family reasons now. He did say that his swimming pool and cocktails buddy's not there now. Like I say, I went there before. I didn't even know there was a swimming pool in the hotel. So, you know, that's the sort of thing we're up to. And he's talking about, you know, spars and all that. So he's in for a shock. He might shock us all and be out the man that's out the whole time. But yeah, he's some boy. He's some boy.
Yeah, mate. I wish I was there with you.
Yeah, I know. It'd be lovely if you were there.
I'll be at the wedding.
About Mickey.
Yeah, I bet you have. Yeah, I bet you will. Should I say? I'll be at the wedding.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You're coming down for that.
Yeah, me and the missus will be there, mate, getting tanked up and celebrating our good old mate Leigh Hop, friend of the show that never listens. I love that one. But before we go, make sure you do put a picture at whatever silly o'clock time in the morning in Wetherspoons. First stag do holiday. I love those photos.
I'll put the airport one up for you, mate. No problem.
Airport one. That's it. That's the one. So yeah, 6:30. I'm gonna have a bit of tea now. Dave's gonna do bits and bats around his house. So we've done our boxing, and we'll be back sometime next week. I'm not sure when, but we will be back with a review, a preview of Benidorm, not the boxing. But until then, guys, have a great week. Stay safe, and especially you, Dave. Please stay safe and enjoy the bloody boxing while you're out in Benidorm as well. So yeah, peace out, guys. Have a good one, Dave.
Take care, mate.